kind of bothering.
All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to our study session for Sunnyside City Council for today, November 3, 2025. For the record, all members of council are here except for Councilor Hancock and Councilor Ripley. Councilor Hancock and Councilor Ripley have asked for an excused absence. If there's no objection, we can excuse them.
No objection.
I'm not hearing any objection. Both excused. All right, fortunately, we do have a quorum. We do have a couple of things that we need to do. First item on the agenda will be the agenda approval. Council, there's been a couple of items on the agenda that have had to be pulled for the evening. That would be item C, the Community and Economic Development Commission presentation, and item D, the FCS group presentation with our ambulance utility study. Is there any other item that council would like to see pulled or added to tonight's agenda?
Not on my behalf.
No? Hearing none, what is the desire of council on the agenda as modified?
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, motion by Councilor Hart, second by the Deputy Mayor to approve the agenda in its amended form. Is there debate on this item? Hearing none. Councilor Frausto. Councilor Vasquez.
Yes.
Councilor Hart.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor.
Yes.
I too vote yes. Motion passes. Active agenda. Item A, appointment of municipal court judge and approval of judicial services agreement. Adopt an ordinance confirming the appointment of Troy Joseph Lee as the municipal court judge for the city of Sunnyside, affixing the compensation for the municipal court judges and judges pro tempore, and authorizing the interim city manager to execute the agreement for municipal court judicial services. Mr. City Manager.
Thank you. Well, as you said, this is pretty straightforward. This is the contract to approve Judge Lee for the next 4 years, starting January 1st. Well, continuing on, he's already under contract for the rest of this year, but we continue on January 1st to December 31st of 2029. And with that, I can stand for questions.
Council, any questions? Councilor Hart.
Yes, this is to make sure that we have all of our judicial services and agreements in place before the beginning of the year,
Before December 1st,
right?
yes, of this year.
Before December 1st or January 1st?
December 1st of this year, we have to have it appointed.
It has to be all appointed then. Okay, thank you. Just wanted that clarification. Thank
Yep.
you.
You're welcome.
Further questions? Yes, Deputy Mayor.
No questions, just a comment. I just didn't realize that he's been with the city 4 years this December, correct?
They're always 4-year terms.
That's what I thought. I thought it was like a renewal of some sort, but I mean, I guess it is a renewal of his 4 years, so it's, thank you for your service.
Yes. And the feedback I get, sir, has been positive that
Thank you.
you're doing an excellent job. So, no. All right. If there's no further questions, what is the desire of council on this item?
Move to approve?
I'll second.
All right. Motion by Councilor Hart, second by Councilor Vasquez to adopt an ordinance confirming the appointment of Troy Joseph Lee as municipal court judge for the city of Sunnyside, affixing the compensation for the municipal court judge and judges pro tempore, and authorizing the interim city manager to execute the agreement for municipal court judicial services. Is there debate on this item? Hearing none. Councilor Vasquez.
Yes.
Councilor Hart.
Yes.
Councilor Fausto.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor.
Yes.
I too vote yes. Motion passes. Congratulations, sir. You
Thank
are
you.
reappointed.
Nice seeing everybody again. Thank you.
All right, item B. And you are welcome to stay, but you're not obligated to stay, so. All right, item B, Daybreak Rotary Splash Pad Presentation. Mr. City Manager.
Yeah, and I'll turn this over to Chief Lehman. I believe he's going to do the presentation for the Rotary.
I think I was voluntold I was doing it.
All right.
Yeah.
Chief, we're happy to hear it.
Can you bring that up, Jackie? So Daybreak Rotary is always looking for a project, and they really want to identify a project when we start advertising for the Ale Fest. So as you guys know, we gave about $47,000 to the pool last year to open. The Daybreak Rotary's put in all the skate parks in town, both out at Sunnyview, which has since been expanded, and the one downtown. So as we're looking for something to do, we had a couple of ideas, and the biggest one we came up with was a splash pad down at Central Park. And so there was a couple of reasons for that. Central Park's becoming a gathering place for the youth, not only because the pool, but we also have the skate park there. This would just be one addition for a different age group. Right now, there's a small playground there as well. A couple of the items in that playground were damaged last year. We can go to the, this is what the skate parks, sorry. The bottom left one, it says it's a Grandview splash pad. The bottom right one is the one that was just put in Zilla. That's been apparently very well used, is my understanding. The fire chief can speak to that. I think he's seen it well used. He lives in Zilla.
And he enjoys it.
Yes, he goes down there and plays in it. And then the other two are just some of the options that a splash park can do, so splash pad can do, so you guys can see that. So yeah, go ahead to the next one. The location where those toys are now, a branch broke off of that big tree that's covering it and damaged a couple of the toys. So right now there's only 3 toys left there. A couple of swings, a merry-go-round, and then what I would call a jungle gym, I guess. It's got kind of a little rock wall. But there's a little sign there that says it's this playground's designated for kids age 2 to 5. So I think a splash park would be cover a wider age group. And those toys could potentially be moved. So just west of the park there, or of the pool, there's a pipe that runs through there that SVID has. And those toys could potentially be put on top of that pipe and moved if the pipe ever broke. We don't want to put a splash pad on top of that, and then that pipe breaks, and then you got to break up all the concrete and rip out the splash pad because you'd basically be starting back over at that point. So that's the proposed location that Rotary came up with. Jim may have some other ideas, or tell me.
No, I
way,
think
don't
that's
know.
Chief and I talked about this morning, the idea is to have it located as close to the pool as possible, to take advantage of the infrastructure of the pool, the water filtration system and the drain system, to reduce the cost of the splash pad.
So rough idea on cost. The next slide, Jackie, if you can. If we're able to use the filtration system at the pool, the cost is around $600,000, 650, somewhere right in there. We've got rough estimates. We haven't gotten what toys are going to be on it or anything like that. If we have to put in its own filtration system, it's about another $200,000. Rotary is committed to funding 25% of the financial cost of the project through some fundraising efforts. And then obviously the Summer Ale Fest is the biggest fundraiser for Daybreak Rotary. Jim would have some input probably on the city side of the funds. And then I have another question kind of somewhat related, but I don't know if you want to speak on that.
So earlier this year, the city received some funding for 3 parks from the Department of Commerce. When Mr. Gonzalez and lobbyists went over there, received approximately $515,000 for improvements to the swimming pool. A large portion of those improvements have already been done and paid for by the city, and some with the contribution of the Rotary. So the potential use that money to go towards the cost of this splash pad. We are working with Department of Commerce to make sure that it's an eligible project that we can use with those funds to do that. So that's where we'd be looking for the makeup funds to come from the city side to make us happen. So.
Council.
How are the funds rolling into the Department of Commerce? Is that a reimbursement on a reimbursement basis, or how are they funneling in the funds into the city?
It's on a reimbursement basis.
Okay.
So we haven't requested any reimbursement as of yet.
Further questions?
So again, thank you. Again, with the amount of money to build it, to do all the design and all of the connecting it to the drain system and all of that, you said was that 600,000?
So if we're able to use the filtration system that's currently used by the pool, we'll be in the neighborhood of 650,000. If we're unable to connect to the pool for whatever reason and have to put its own filtration system in, we'll be looking at 800,000.
And those cost estimates are based upon the park that was just built in Zilla.
Okay, and these are just estimates, so,
Correct.
okay. So we don't put them, they're not in stone.
No.
Right.
They're just estimates, okay.
Deputy Mayor.
And when would we know if we'll be able to use the filtration system? It seems kind of on the opposite side of where the current filtration building is at for the pool.
Well, I think we need to have this gentleman, well, we probably need to go out for bid because it's going to have some city funds. We're probably not going to be able to just select this gentleman. Although this gentleman put in the Zilla Splash Park, and so when he was in the area, he came by and just gave us those rough numbers. So we'll probably need to put together what square footage we're looking at and what type of toys maybe we want, and then go out for a proposal and get bids back.
And that's when we would find out if we could use.
Right.
Okay.
But I think we would have that pinned down before we went out for bids to make sure that we were bidding apples to apples. So I don't want to leave it to the imagination of the contractor and where he's going to have to, hook into. So we would make sure we'd have that nailed down, Deputy Mayor.
There's
Okay,
something-
Councilor Vasquez.
Yeah, so in the Zilla one, it's free entrance, correct? Am I right?
It's not fenced or anything yet.
Not fenced or anything.
And this would be the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and then that's where I guess my concern is, it would be the same. And I've heard some stories of other cities where people think it's a shower and like anyone just has access to the water, and where it can get pretty tricky, right, to manage and to control. So that's where my suggestion, my thoughts would be, what if it is gated? The pool. It just got a new gate all around recently. So would it be possible, I don't know, and this is up to you guys as well, since you guys are also funding, but to be part of it, or how would we go about that? Or is that something that you guys would be willing to do?
Well, I think it potentially could, but the problem is we want it to be available. And if we fenced it, it would probably only be available when the pool's open.
Okay.
And so with the pool only be open 3 months out of the year, we think this could be open a couple months on either side of the pool being open. So just for more use for the kids.
Okay.
Okay. Deputy Mayor?
A few safety concerns that I have there would be, you know, broken glass and then who's going to be responsible and going in there and making sure that there's no broken glass so the kids don't get cut. I mean, the city could.
It would be, the Parks Department would manage it.
Yes.
Yeah, and that would have to be well managed, just because I remember I did one of the national night outs in Central Park, and just walking around the area, I found a lot of beer cans that were just broken everywhere. I found some drugs, like things that people use for drugs, and we found chains, and it was just really bad. So I had to make a call, and with some help of City Hall, and just to pick up and clean up the surroundings because kids were going to be around. And so those are just some of the things that needs to be taken care of.
Good thoughts?
Yeah, good thoughts. Counselor Hart?
I was just thinking in terms of safety, absolutely, we'd want to build those into the situation. As far as any kind of, the toys you're talking about, if I remember looking at that picture, the toys are the things that are going to be that the kids can play. They're going to be over on top of where that pipe is, you said?
They would not be.
No.
There's I don't know how big that pipe is, maybe 6 feet.
Yep.
It's a drainage pipe that runs through there. So there's an easement SVID has through the middle of
We
that
couldn't
park.
Put them on top of that.
We could, but the problem is if something ever happened with that pipe, we'd have to tear the entire splash park out. So that's why I'm thinking, put it where those toys are. Those toys could be put on top of that pipe. You could go out with a backhoe and pick those up and move them. Yeah.
That's what I was trying to make clear to myself. Yeah.
Yeah, the playground toys could be on top of that pipe.
Sure, they wouldn't.
Splash pad itself could not.
No, we wouldn't want to do that. No, I think that safety wise, those are all issues, but they're issues at all of our parks as far as garbage, unsafe garbage. So those are just things we have to take our little bags out and do our little civic duty to go pick up stuff. But I really am impressed with this. Now, the design has already been made. I guess my real question was, the design for the splash pad has already been made, or are we
No.
in the design stage before we can go for bids, or?
So the reason for bringing this tonight is Rotary wants to start advertising for the Ale Fest. And one of the things Rotary does is go out and solicit donation from businesses and things like that. They want to designate this as their project. So when I go to, Bob's Farm or whatever, I can tell Bob, hey, this is what this money's going to be going for, so that they can see what the target is and what the plan is. And so we just want to know if council's interested in moving that direction so that we can designate this as our project for the Ale Fest.
Okay, Counselor Hart?
I think that's a really great idea. I love the idea. I love the idea of being able to have a water feature at Central Park that can be used a few longer into the summer, beginning of the summer, longer into the fall. I think that because we have really nice September weather and October weather, as we know. So if you could do that, having it open a lot longer, I really like the idea, and having that as another feature. I think we can really, I think it'd be a huge tourist attraction as well. And so there may be, if we're able to think of it in terms of maybe some LTAC money out there too, for some tourism as we go into the marketing of the splash pad. So we might want to think about those things as well. I am to the Rotary gentlemen that are here tonight. I just want to commend you on the different projects that you have brought to us in the past, the ones that you've been successful with. I enjoy the Ale Fest, and every time I know what we're doing a project for, I have a couple more libations, That's off the record, by the way. But no, it's a good.
Definitely on the record.
I know. I know it's on the record, but it's off the record, Don't tell your friends.
Don't enter those into the minutes.
No, good job. Good job for bringing this forward. I think it's a great idea. I do.
Okay, Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, so I guess for me, it just depends how, if we are able to use that money that not just the previous city manager, but my fellow councilors and I went to Olympia, to
Yes.
talk to the legislatures. But if we are able to use that money for this project, I'm definitely on board. And, once again, thank you for
And we're expecting an answer back any time.
okay,
So.
thank you.
No, and I would have to say, I agree with the idea of the project. I think it's great. Excuse me, especially if, it's one of those things that we can provide for free. So the kids can be out there, they can turn the splash pad on in the summertime, they'll have a wild time. It's not something that mom and dad got to figure out, okay, how are we going to pay X amount of money for each of these kids to be out there playing? And it's just a great opportunity for kids to get out and burn off all that excess energy that they seem to have. So I think it's a fantastic idea. I've seen it more and more in cities as I've traveled around the US. I've seen these splash pads coming up, and it's kind of a popular thing to have going around right now. And the one in Zola is kind of cool. So.
Like our town.
One last question.
Mm.
Mr. Gonzalez spoke with Mr. Fox and told him that the Ale Fest was going to be designated as a city signature event. I don't know who makes that designation. I don't know if council makes that designation. I talked to Jim a little bit about it. He said he didn't really know anything, wasn't sure. So I was asked tonight by my fellow Rotary members to ask if the Ale Fest could be designated as a signature event.
You would like it designated as a signature event?
Correct.
That's a council decision, actually. So
Okay.
What do you guys think?
that would take,
I'm all for it.
I'm all
I mean,
for it.
I think,
If you want to
Yeah.
make it into a process, can LTAC discuss it and bring it forward to council and
I think
final
so.
approval?
I think that the Ale Fest has probably done the most for the youth in this community with the skate
Well
parks
and
and
truly.
things. So
I agree.
Well and truly.
I think, yeah, let's send that to the LTAC committee and they'll bring it back to council as a proposal and then we can vote on that and make it official. I think, for us just to decide here tonight probably wouldn't be the correct way to go about it, but let's get a proposal from the LTAC committee and move that forward, I think.
And as soon as they come back with they want to promote it, then I'm pretty sure you'll have a positive outcome there, at least if those of us who are here tonight are any indication.
thank you.
So, yeah,
Thank you so much.
that's a great idea. I think that would be the easiest way to also for them to get some LTAC money if they needed it for marketing or anything else. I mean,
I have one final question.
Councilor Vasquez.
So, any idea of the timeline? Like, let's say we get a green light from the funds and we get a green light from everything and everything works out perfectly, which is rare, right? Any timeline on when that would be up and ready to go?
Well, if things align, concrete can be poured and the funds are available and everything, I wouldn't be surprised if it couldn't be open by June next year.
Okay.
I mean, it's going to depend on the contractor's availability, obviously, and what contractor selected, but
Okay. Nice. Thank you.
right, guys?
all right, thank you.
Nodding of heads. Oh, yay.
All right.
I'm going to excuse Chief Lehman. He's going to leave. He's going to heading out of town and he's got to catch a plane.
All
So
right, chief. Well, safe travels.
Safe travels.
All right, next item on our agenda is item E, review of the vendor permit process. Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks, y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
I think she wants to make a change with the
Okay.
250th anniversary
Yeah. We switched the orders.
because there's a lady on.
Okay, council, we have on our Zoom, the representative, Lorraine Ralston, who is the representative for the Washington State America's 250th Committee.
Oh.
And so would you mind switching the order around so that she can make her presentation and we can ask her our questions now? And then she can go on about her evening and then we can take the last item on the agenda. Is there any objection to that?
No
No,
objection.
no objection.
All right. Then we're going to jump to item F on our agenda, and Ms. Ralston is going to be able to make a presentation. I met with Ms. Ralston some time ago and really liked what she had to offer. I mentioned this to council some time ago, where next year, 2026, is the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And so we would kind of like to make a thing out of that. And there's national committees, and she's part of that and part of that for Washington State. And traveling around the state and meeting with all sorts of people, makes a very good presentation. So we've asked her to be here tonight and make a real brief presentation, and she can answer questions. And I thought briefly about doing this myself, but it's been enough time since we both met that I would have forgotten enough of the information to where I wouldn't be able to answer your questions. So, Ms. Ralston, I'm going to turn it over to you. You're still muted, I think, but go ahead and make your presentation and we can ask you some questions.
Can you hear me? I have
You
unmuted.
can now, yeah.
Okay, great. Well, Ms. Rand, thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you, council members, for having me here this evening. If you are happy with that, I'm not going to do a formal presentation with slides. I'm going to try to blow through this pretty quickly just to give you a taste of what's happening and how we hope your community can be part of this. So just to give you a little bit of background information, as the mayor said, next year is the 250th anniversary of the country. It is our semi-quincentennial, America 250, and organizations and communities around the country are gearing up for this major moment in history. There is a national planning committee that's been in effect since 2016. It was created by Congress. In addition to the national committee, every state, the District of Columbia, and all of the U.S. territories have also established planning committees. So there's 56 committees now, all working independently, but collaborating where it makes sense. Here in Washington, we have a state planning committee. It's been in effect since 2022. The lieutenant governor chairs that committee. And the committee has had a number of public meetings. They've had some working groups, and they have identified 3 themes for our state for next year. And our themes are We the People, the Power of Place, and Sharing History. And the themes really reflect the fact that Washington wasn't part of the United States in 1776, so we don't have that immediate relationship to the Revolution. You can't go outside and visit a battlefield here in Washington. So what we're trying to do next year is really tell our story, our chapter of the American story within the context of the American Revolution, but really connecting with local communities, local histories, and local voices. The entire year of 2026 is the anniversary year. However, we have identified 4 key dates next year around which we hope most of the commemorative activities will occur. The first date will be June 14th next year, which is Flag Day, and that's going to be a day of service. It's all about volunteering, whether encouraging individuals to volunteer or communities doing volunteer projects together. This is a national initiative called America Gives. Every state is participating, and it will be the largest public service effort in American history. The second key date needs really no explanation. It is the 4th of July, Independence Day, and we are encouraging communities around the state to do what they would normally do for the 4th of July. And for communities that don't do anything for the 4th, we are asking if they could try to do something next year, something manageable and realistic. It doesn't have to be fireworks and parades and pancake breakfasts, but just something to mark this moment in history. We're asking every city around the state to try and incorporate a few simple things into their Independence Day celebration next year. The first thing we're asking for are public readings of the Declaration of Independence. We would like young people in your community to read it out loud. It takes about 10 minutes to read the Declaration of Independence. We're encouraging communities to work with veterans organizations to have flag retirement ceremonies as part of their 4th of July next year. Typically, those are done for Memorial Day or Veterans Day, but we're asking next year for the 4th of July. We have a commemorative apple pie recipe, courtesy of the Washington Apple Commission. So we're encouraging communities to have apple pie, encouraging communities perhaps to have apple pie baking contest or apple pie eating contest or raffling off apple pies, but just having people enjoying pies with their family and friends. We are participating in an initiative from the state of Utah called America's Potluck. So we are encouraging communities around the state to have potluck meals during the holiday holiday weekend next year. Again, this can just be encouraging people in your community to get together with their neighbors on their front yards, or it could be something that the community does together, whether you all go to a community park or shut down some streets downtown and have the community come together for a potluck. So some very simple things that we feel every community around the state can do. And we've got some other ideas that are simple and can be incorporated next year. Another idea that we're encouraging communities, I just thought of, I apologize, is to take a community photo next year. Get as many people in your city together in one place. Some communities are going to do it at the end of their parades, or they're going to do it as part of the potluck, and getting somebody up on top of a building or up on the fire truck and taking a community photo and just marking this moment in history. So that photo can become a memento. It can be displayed at City Hall, or people can get copies of it and say, you know what, in 2026, I was there. I was part of this. The third key date next year will be August 8th. That's going to be Washington Museum Day. We are hoping that all the museums in the state will be open that day for free or with discounted admission. And then the final key date will be September 17th, which is Constitution Day. And that will be a day of civic engagement. So we're really looking for ideas to remind all of us of our responsibilities as citizens in a democracy. And I think some of the things that immediately leap to minds are voter registration drives or town hall meetings or candidates forums. But we are hoping that communities can be a little bit more creative next year and specifically try to engage with young people in the community, the young people who will be the future leaders of our community, the people who will take us to the tricentennial in the next 50 years. We have some ideas around engaging with young people. I encourage all the mayors that I meet with, all the city councils, to think about maybe taking the day off and let the high school run the city for the day, or let high school students run a public meeting, or maybe have every city employee have a high school student shadow them for the day and learn a little bit about local government and what does the city do? What services does the city actually provide? And how do they do that? Many cities around the state are taking this as an opportunity to establish youth councils or youth advisory committees to get them engaged and talking about their hopes and aspirations for the future and the direction that our communities are heading and where are we going together. So those are just some of the ideas around that. There is a national organization that's been created called Youth 250, which is providing a bunch of free services to help communities around the country engage with young people and get them to be more active, not only in civics, but in preserving our history, in volunteering, and being more complete parts of our communities than we've seen thus far. There will be lots of other things going on next year. From the Historical Society's perspective, we are doing a lot to promote history. We're doing a lot to promote local history. We want to nurture it. We want to help promote it. We want to help preserve it for future generations. So we are working with museums around the state to do that and to encourage Washingtonians to visit museums next year, learn a little bit more about our history, and get engaged. We also have a fantastic historical panel exhibit that we are collaborating with 10 of the Western states on. It is called Moments That Made Us, us being the United States. It will be an exploration of 5 ideals from the Declaration of Independence during the past 250 years. It will be free to download, and then it can be reproduced locally. Organizations can pick and choose 1, 2, 3, 5 of these ideals, put these exhibits together, and we're hoping that those panel exhibits will be in every city hall, every library, every school, every county fair, any large place for gathering, museums and things like that. So there's lots of other things that are going on. So specifically, what we are asking of the city is to consider signing up to be an official America 250 Washington partner. We do have a partnership program for nonprofits and educational and municipality groups around the state. Currently, we are close to 600 partners around the state. Our partnership program is free. You are not obligated to do anything. You don't have to sign a contract or anything like that. You're just expressing an interest to be part of this moment in history in some way, to be determined what that way is. As a partner, you will get a number of benefits. The biggest benefit, I think, is that you'll start to receive information regularly from us with ideas about things that you can do in your community. We share out ideas that are being developed around the state, other cities, other groups that are coming up with ideas. We're also sharing initiatives that are happening, whether they're national initiatives. For example, just 2 weeks ago, they kicked off the national contest for students in grades 3 through 12, America's Field Trip. It's an amazing contest for students around the country, and that's a wonderful opportunity for young people to get engaged. So we're sharing this information out through our partnership program, and we have a number of toolkits and videos and other resources that the partners can use to help start raising awareness about America 250 and looking at things that you can do in your community. We are also reaching out to thousands of organizations around the state. I'm sorry that the Rotary already left. We're getting lots of support from Rotary clubs around the state to be part of this. We'd love to see Rotary be part of it. Veterans organizations, arts groups, parks, schools, libraries, fraternal organizations, veterans groups. All of these organizations are signing up to be partners and are looking at ways that they can participate, how they can engage people in the community. And in some cities, actually, they are pulling together committees now to start looking at what are we going to do in our community? What is realistic for us to do in our community? And more importantly, what will be meaningful to our community? Every community in the state is different. We are relying upon you all as the subject matter experts of your community to have a better feel for what the expectation will be of people in Sunnyside next year and what will be more meaningful for them. And what you might decide to do down there in Yakima County is going to be very different from what they're doing in San Juan County or what they're doing in Pend Oreille County. And that's the way we want this to be next year. We want this to be meaningful to people. And we want the local community to lead the way on deciding what that involvement will be. So I apologize. That's a lot of information. There is lots more going on. There are things going on now. More things will be kicking off in January. But I just wanted to give you a little bit of a flavor of what this is and how we hope that you guys will be part of this. But I'm happy to answer any questions that you all might have.
Council, any questions for Ms. Ralston? Councilor Hart.
I'm excited about this program. I've already got some ideas kind of rolling in my head, but the We the People, would you explain that one more time for me, what that kind of involves?
So We the People is really looking at all of us. We all have an American story to tell. And it's exploring that idea of the mosaic of Americans and Washingtonians, that there isn't just one American story to tell, but each one of us has an American story to tell. And you put that together, and that is the American story, if you will. And it's also about exploring the foundations of our democracy, the ideals from the Declaration of Independence, the idea, have we lived up to those ideals from the Declaration of Independence, or what more do we need to do to become a more perfect union? So it's kind of an exploration of some of those ideals.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Seems you've got more questions, Councilor.
I have one more, yeah.
Sure.
Well, on the business of, this is kind of going where I was thinking it might be going, but I'm just on the question of sharing of history. That sounds a lot like when you're creating the American story, there's some things in there, right?
Sure. There's a little bit of, yes, there is a little bit of overlap, but sharing history is really something that we are working more closely with the museums and historical societies on, about sharing out our Washingtonian history. We have a statewide project that we've launched this summer called Out of Many One, which is looking at the collections that we have in our museums in the state and selecting items that represent the American experience in that community. community. We've got lots of communities around the state that are participating in that. So the sharing history is sharing our history, sharing all parts of our history. We have many groups in the state that have a history to tell, and what we're trying to do is really tell everyone's history, and also looking at preserving that history, making sure that that history is available for future generations.
Okay.
Other questions or comments? Counselor Vasquez?
Yeah, I have one question. So the cities who are becoming members, you gave us 4 specific dates. Are you guys kind of pushing for the cities to do something big on those 4 specific dates, or more like just one big main event on one specific, like on just one of those dates, or what are you guys kind of looking for? Just an idea.
So we are very flexible. The dates are suggestive. We do know, for example, many communities in the state already have an annual volunteering day or parks cleanup day, and they do it at different times of the year, which is great. Obviously, June is not a good time for our farming communities, so they don't really want to do the day of service then. So the dates are just really a suggestion. If it would work better for your community to do it at a different time, great. The point is to participate, not necessarily the date. If you can do something for each one of those dates, that's wonderful. If you feel like, no, we just want to focus on one date, whether it be the 4th of July or something else, that's great too. It's really up to you guys to determine what you have the capacity to do, what the community has the appetite for. And ideally, we would love every community to participate for each one of those days. But if that's too much, then that's fine as well.
Nice. Okay. Have one more.
Follow-up question. Go ahead, Counselor.
So you said one of the benefits, this membership would be free, but one of the benefits you guys would kind of send us ideas. Would those be sent to us by email, or would you guys be mailing out a magazine, or what is that looking like?
So we have a monthly newsletter that goes to our partners where we are sharing ideas that are bubbling up around the state. And we've already got a lot of communities that see those ideas and think like, oh, that's great. We're going to do that as well. It really is a great idea. So that's the best way that we do it, is through our newsletter. We are starting this week. We're going to have a monthly kind of a drop-in call for partners. So if, we've had a lot of partners around the state ask to collaborate together or talk to other cities or organizations. So we're going to offer that once a month, that people can just jump on a call and start knocking around ideas or getting more information. So that will be another opportunity. We are developing a partner's guide, which will be kind of a manual to help you through these days. We'll share some ideas and resources out there. So that's kind of the way that we're trying to put the information out. The newsletter does go out by email, but we will post all the newsletters on the website very soon.
Okay. Nice. Thank you.
Further questions?
Just a comment.
Go ahead, Counselor Fausto.
Seems like this would be a great collaboration with the Lions Club, Julia.
I'm
Seems-
thinking,
and
I was,
Counselor Vasquez, because y'all are already doing 4th of July.
I was sort of thinking
Yeah,
that
and I
myself.
did hear Lori mention nonprofit organizations, so.
Mhm.
Well, I have to be
Absolutely.
honest that when Ms. Ralston and I first had a conversation and I listened to her presentation, the people that came into my mind were the Lions Club and Ms. Hart in particular as a council representative, because Ms. Hart has demonstrated an aptitude for this sort of thing and a great deal of interest in this type of thing in the past. And one of the benefits to having served as long as I have on council, you get to know your fellow council members fairly well. And I kind of suspected that you'd be interested in this, Counselor.
I ate it up. I mean, I looked at all of the different things this afternoon. I was looking at some other stuff and I'm thinking, I got coloring contest ideas. I got, working with the Rotaries and the other nonprofits in the community and the library, the museum. I'm not sure when it's going to be open again. But if it's open in time for this, we could certainly have that museum day, grand opening. It's going to
Yes.
happen anyway. We could celebrate it. Because we have a lot of history in our little town that
You
we
do.
don't
You-
even know about that we
You
could share.
do. Absolutely. And so all of those service clubs that you mentioned and other organizations, they have probably received an email from me. I have literally emailed 5,000 organizations around the state of Washington. I suspect 95% of those emails went into the spam folder, but they are all welcome to join us as partners. The more organizations we can get in every community, the better there is. And what we're encouraging all groups to do is really tap into all the things you plan on doing next year anyway. There are tens of thousands of things that are going to happen in the state of Washington next year, regardless of this anniversary. And just looking at those things and seeing how can you tweak them or modify them in some way to bring America 250 to your community. And that is things as simple as book clubs at the library, lecture series. We've got garden clubs signing up to be partners. They put flowers out every year, and they're going to do patriotic flower displays next year. So there's so many simple little things that can be done. We don't have to only think about the big events or community events, although it sounds like you've got a fantastic Ale Fest that would be great to tie in as well. But, those community events are great, but it's just the day-to-day things that can be done as well.
Okay, Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, so,
It's gonna be fun.
it is usually the Lions Club that does the 4th of July, but I would also like these
We-
organizations to kind of unite,
Yes.
come together.
Break my heart.
Yeah, everybody,
Wonderful.
everybody come together and, help out and volunteer. So
Yes.
you have my support.
Absolutely. I think we could do a whole weekend
Mhm.
Yes.
of just
So-
fun stuff.
Counselor Hart, would you be interested in being the point person for Sunnyside City Council for these activities?
I would be delighted
Okay.
to volunteer.
Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass Miss Ralston's card over to you and invite you to get in touch with her
Okay, I'm gonna. put it
and
here.
work with Mr. Bridges and the rest of council and see what we can do as a city to be part of this and celebrate. I think it can be a lot of fun. I remember back in 1976 when they did that and kids got to paint fire hydrants.
Ah,
You would adopt a fire hydrant. We got to paint the fire hydrants in certain patriotic themes. They'd be red, white, and blue. One was the Statue of Liberty. I think there's probably pictures of them somewhere.
yeah.
And
Maybe at the museum.
it was a big deal and they got judged and it was a lot of fun. And so, yeah, I remember looking at those for several years afterwards before the city decided to paint them normal colors again. So that was a big deal. And I can't remember what all the other activities were, but I remember,
Well-
red, white, and blue was the theme for everything that
Yeah,
year.
that year. Well, it's just the year of the statehood of what is it? The year we became a state.
Oh, yeah, the centennial. that
The
was
centennial,
1989.
that was a lot of fun too, but in Mapton, I can't remember all they did in Sunnyside, but I remember in Mapton in 76, we built a hay palace. And the hay palace was really, it was just like they used to do back in the 20s through the war and up into the 20s. They would build and they would auction off the hay, but they make
fun.
this huge hay palace. And so we recreated that for the 1776 anniversary. So we had
Maybe they
lots
can-
of fun ideas.
I was gonna say, maybe they can do that again. I met with the mayor in Mapton. Mapton has signed up as a partner, so maybe that's a good idea to bring
Maybe they
back
could do that as
for
part
the
of their history. That'd be
semi-quincentennial.
cool.
Yes.
So I won't steal that idea.
Okay.
I'll take
No,
some-
no, it's a great
We'll do
idea.
something else over in Sunshine.
Ms. Ralston, thank you so much for your
Thank you.
presentation. Council, I
Fabulous.
don't know if you've got any more questions for her?
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for
all.
this. It was very informative, and I think that we've got some excited council members as I thought we might. And so, thank you for taking the time out to present to us.
Thank you for inviting me, and I'm here to help you guys. Please sign up as a partner so you start to get information. And I'm happy to have a time to Councilmember Hart to have a one-on-one with you and talk a little bit more if
Absolutely.
you'd like. I'm happy to do that.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for the invitation tonight.
Oh,
All right, thank you so much.
Thanks.
thank you.
All
Another big
right.
project. Woo-hoo, wait till the Lions hear what I've been up to.
That's right. We're gonna knock their socks off.
They are gonna do something with my socks.
All right, the next item then is our final item for the evening, a review of the vendor permit process. Mr. City Manager.
Mr. Taylor.
Mr. Taylor.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. We're here, several months ago, discussing our mobile vendor ordinance. And at that time, it was in pretty rough shape to try and keep up with the times. It was very outdated. So I did send everybody a copy. I hope everybody got it, had a chance to review it.
And have questions.
Yep, no problem. We get a chance for that. So I'll just go through a kind of a quick rundown. We got, so much has changed over the past, since 2005 when that original ordinance was done. And the amount of vendors and the things that they're doing, that the whole world has changed with it. So our previous ordinance, we didn't really have a spot to really put these different vendors into. So that was the primary goal of this ordinance, is getting them into their categories so we can place them, cite them properly. With the biggest part of it for me was the fire, life safety, and health. Pretty much all of this has to do with that. It's kind of where it came in one way or another. The stationary vendor is our largest one for the regulation part of it. The setbacks, where they can be placed, we got in there that they can't be placed on a vacant lot. Then part of that reason, it wasn't necessarily safety stuff. It's more, we got an abandoned building or an empty lot that burned down. Now they're creating it as a business. We didn't feel that that was a proper use or a good use of that, especially like in our downtown areas, or you have a rundown building, but they don't want to repair that building, but they're renting out the parking lot for the mobile units. So, and all of this can be subject to change. I'm here to do and enforce what you guys want us to do.
Mm.
So that's the key to it. So.
Okay, council, questions for Mr. Taylor and his heart?
As I've been working with, a local, group that are trying to put in a taco truck downtown. It's so it's on a piece of property they bought. It's their property. And they've put in a storage unit in the back, and they've put a bathroom in there, and then there's been some things that they're kind of probably going to need to work up to, like having it paved and having it, because they also talked about the possibility of doing a little food court. So I didn't really see in here anything that we could do as far as regulations around food courts. Because you and I, when we talked about there should be a certain distance for different vendors.
Mhm.
Like for a food court, like maybe an ice cream one or a juice one, or something along those lines.
Yeah.
But there's a real desire for food courts in our town. There was if you remember, the one over there by Complete Wellness, Britain Bima, yeah. And so she's trying to work that into hers, and the one over here on South Sixth Street, Melissa's Taco Truck. That's what she's also trying to do too. She would like to be able to have maybe at least 2 more vendors in there to make it kind of a mini food court.
Yeah.
And we've been looking at the one that's in, I think is it in Kennewick? It's called the Hub. Yeah, and it's kind of, they've got all the food, and then they have a glass dome where you can go inside and eat. I had tacos at Melissa's the other day, last Tuesday. It was cold out there. My fingers froze. Tacos were wonderful. But a dome like that would really have been nice with some heaters in there. So is that something that that we can maybe see a way to maybe talk with both of those vendors? Because that's really what how they envision it, how that could be envisioned.
And the whole reason that's not in here is because that comes into more land use and being approved in zoning districts. All of that has to go through the planning commission. There's a whole nother piece.
That's a whole nother
to get
piece,
that part of
right?
it into it.
Right.
And that's what we chose to get this part through. So at least we've got something enforceable, something we can explain to the vendor when they come into the office. Here's what you need. It's all as clear as we can make it.
So as far as the food courts, then we're going to have to work on a different kind of ordinance for that. It'd be
Well-
part of the vendors. I think it would
Yeah.
be part of the vendors, but you're talking about zoning as
Yeah,
well.
you'd have to tie zoning in on that as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And that, I think you're right. I think there is a place for those. We just got to be able to plan it to keep them
Mhm.
safe.
Mhm.
The fire department side,
Mm,
we got to think
absolutely.
of these taco trucks.
Uh-huh.
Any food
Any-
vending,
yeah, well-
anywhere they're cooking, they've got high BTUs, propane,
Mhm.
grease-laden vapors.
Mhm.
We've got a lot of fire safety stuff to think about
Right,
as well.
right.
So I just want to get it right.
Yeah,
Instead of just
absolutely.
put something in here and say,
Sure.
okay, this will work. Now the other thing I wanted to bring up is if somebody wanted to do one of those soon,
Uh-huh.
we could do those currently under our event permits. So it's not all out. It's just not something we could allow like permanently, as long as they fall under the public event permits, we could look at them that way as well.
So there's something maybe we could figure out. I'm sorry. Talking out of turn here. I don't
I'm
know if
not
somebody
seeing any
else.
hands waving back and forth. Deputy Mayor's about ready to go. So go finish
You
up.
could
your-
go.
You
finish
might
your
ask the question I want to ask.
Okay,
so
thank
go
you, thank you. Because oh boy, now I got all excited.
ahead. Oh, okay.
Um, especially with the food court kinds of things, if we're able to kind of create work a way through where there can be allowed now, where the stationary or the mobile vendors can be allowed now, residential, business, industrial areas. But and to kind of grandfather that in, is that what you're kind of talking about?
Yeah, well, all of our current ones right now that don't meet these rules 100% will be grandfathered in.
Okay,
So they're there. If they leave the space vacant for more than 60 days, they can lose that grandfather right.
right.
So
Well, that was, yeah,
that was,
Did read
we don't want a big impact on everybody right now. As they go out of business, retire or whatever,
Uh-huh.
if that site becomes vacant for 60 days or longer,
was it in?
then that license would not be granted
Okay,
Okay,
unless they can meet the current rules. So,
okay. Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, so thank you, Corey, for everything you've done so far. I kind of see this as I guess as a three-step, right? The preparation and the ordinance, and then the education to our vendors and enforcement, right? Enforcement, and it should be enforced evenly across the board, everybody. I remember having a meeting, with my fellow counselors with a vendor that was leaving the city and the state because she was frustrated that when she opened up a business, she had to go through hoops, jump through hoops, do this and do that. And now she was seeing vendors, coming in, nothing was being enforced. So definitely thank you for everything that you're doing now. Let's make sure that we do educate our public. And I think it was last week that was mentioned, maybe get these companies in town, right? There's at least 4 different companies or services that help, our local people open up a business. And sometimes they don't even know about the different process. So I think if we start with them, it'd be a great help for the city. And then most importantly, make sure that everybody gets enforced evenly. Nobody gets, preferential treatment. Doesn't matter who you follow the rules.
well, and this way the rules are pretty clear in this one. I don't know if you've tried to read our old one. And
Yeah.
it made it really hard at the front counter when they're asking, can I do this? This spells it out pretty straightforward. So, and once we do have an ordinance adopted, I plan to work a new application into our permitting system that will give them that education step by step as they go. So.
Other questions? Councilor Fausto?
So working that new application, and so I've gotten some feedback, and Jim, I still have to send you an email to set up a meeting to talk to you all about the feedback that I've been getting from some local vendors and business owners here in community. I did mention that Tacos Chavez had some feedback about the process in general. So it's really great that we're putting systems in place, but we want those systems to also be accessible to our community, specifically the folks who speak only Spanish or are monolingual speakers. So part of the feedback that I've been receiving is that the processes are in place or they're about to be improved. But what I would like us to also pay attention to the detail in how we're going to approach accessibility. So are we translating? Who's going to be translating? Who on staff are we going to have in order to walk folks through the process, especially when we have the education piece that we're going to try to push. to inform our business owners of some of these changes. So I think that's it's an imperative piece of these improvements and these amendments, because many of our business owners are just really left in the dark, and they want to do things right. They want to, they want to go the right way, but many times the language barriers, the translation part, interpreting part is a big barrier for many of them.
I would,
think those are-
I would agree with that as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead.
So we have been, obviously, people have been coming on our side of City Hall, and we've been there to actually open up OpenGov, so we are able to help them out to translate and actually allow them to apply for the permit. So with that being said, we welcome that, so we can help. We are actually going for a development technicians who will be bilingual, who will be able to also help out and translate at the same time with the application. So we are working on that to get that more access. And like you stated before, and Mr. Bridges stated before, we are working on the QR code. I know I need to be working more with Mr. Silva here, so we can get that opened up to OpenGov and to that side of the building, so they can apply for it themselves, and it will be translated.
Yeah.
Follow-up question, Counselor?
Just a quick follow-up point. Sorry, Counselor
Okay.
Hart. Yeah, so all of those are really good things, and I'm sure that, it's not sustainable for you, Hector, to try to tackle all this alone. And then on top of that, I know that there was an email that we received about an elderly folk who couldn't navigate technology very well too. So QR codes are amazing, but they also only go so far. So for those, we always have to meet our community where they are, and also keep in mind that we're going to have a lot of business owners or interested entrepreneurs in the community that might not be able to navigate technology as
So-
easily as others.
Yes, so to answer that question, the email that you received, to give a little backstory on that per se was that when they play with credit card on OpenGov, we have to put an email address. And at the time, such person didn't have an email. So instead of using our planning email or Ms. Gonzalez's email, we've used mine. So mine is going to be dedicated as for people who don't have email address that pay with credit card. And that way we can get that process going and complete the process of what they need to be done. So we cover that part. So we are working on that to make sure that we get that process all completed.
Thank you. Yeah.
Counselor Vasquez?
Yes, so I see here on 1BC, 1BC is actually underlined and it's in red. So is that something that's barely going to be added on, or has it already been added?
Yeah, well, the red stuff were the changes that we made from the last printing on it.
Okay,
So that's what's going to be proposed once we get resolution together and actually get
Okay.
it. Everything will be black and white
yeah.
as we see it, unless there's comments tonight that we need to
Perfect.
make changes.
Yes, so I do have a suggestion. So then really quick, going to 1CE. Or actually, no, before I go to 1CE, because that's separate. So 1BC and then 1BA, it says all food vendors shall comply with all laws. And then going towards the end, it says they should have Yakima County Health Department. So like, let's say their food handler's card, and if it's a temporary vendor, then they would get a temporary license.
Correct.
But if it's a business, then they should have their business license. So aside from the mobile vendor license, they also should be showing their food handler's card and the permit that they get a permit from the Department of Health as well. And that should also be posted and visible in the location. So I see the C, it says mobile vendor license shall be posted in a visible location while conducting business. So maybe creating A, B, C, D, or adding it into C, that food handlers cards shall also be visible. and Department of Health license shall also be visible, or business license should be visible.
Because currently it's just
It's just a
mobile vendor license.
correct.
But when they apply for it, we require a copy of their health department license.
Okay,
And because the health department regulates all of the food safety stuff that's
correct,
mandated by the state,
Mhm.
and that food handler part is part of that.
correct.
And when the health department comes down to do the inspection, this way we don't have a bunch of other people's information on file.
Yeah.
We know that the county health department has approved this,
Okay.
and that's kind of why we left it there. So,
Okay.
and like I say, it's open to change.
Okay, so then,
That's just the
no,
reason.
yes, and that's good also for clarification on my end, where, so then the mobile vendor license will be, they'll have to check mark all of those add-ons, correct, in order to even be able to get the mobile vendor license, is my
Yes.
understanding?
Yes, we will have a copy of it on file with the application
Okay,
when they apply.
nice, okay,
That-
that's
that's what
just
we're
what
looking
I wanted to know, just because, an example for like Cinco de Mayo vendors, because this process hasn't been done yet in the city of Sunnyside. Like in Cinco de Mayo vendors, all the vendors are actually, if they sell food, they must have all food handlers cards visible, the license visible, the Department of Health license visible. So that's just kind of like, just to demonstrate that we are in compliance with everything that's required, which has been a requirement for the past years here in Sunnyside. So that's why I guess I'm asking, just to make sure that all of that will be fulfilled and completed. So that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, and with the special events, like I say, the county will come down and have they'll go through and inspect them as well. I know
Okay.
Cameron will walk through the food vendor stuff too, do their fire safety inspections of them as well. So.
Yes, okay. Okay, thank you.
Counselor Hart.
Do you have something?
Well,
Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Counselor Hart, you've got the floor.
Well, I noticed, and I'm trying to remember, don't like this new thing that we got going on. It makes lines where I don't want them. I'll show you later. But under operations, it talks about having, see if I can get that to go away.
Oh, yeah.
There's a piece there that says something about not being able to have a storage. It's F, it's under operations and number H actually. And I've noticed it like more of the kind of stationary vendors have the ones that are kind of there. They're plugged into a breaker box and they've got lights and things like that. But it says here that they're not supposed to have any storage or of equipment outside of the vending facility permitted. All storage outside the vending facility needs to be stored off-site. Any storage that is on premise shall result in issuance of violation. But as with the Melissa's taco truck, just as those are just the two examples that are most in my head right now. And the one over for Byam's Tacos Chavez, I think is it Tacos Chavez?
Yeah.
They both have built like a little shed in the back to store their things. And I think, for some of these others that are kind of stationary, that it got that would be something, because then they could also put a bathroom facility there, not just for their employees, but also for customers.
Well, we've had quite a few discussions about that.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it kind of goes both ways.
Yeah.
We're looking at these stationary vendors of more of a temporary use.
Uh-huh.
Or, having a bunch of permanent buildings built for a
Yes.
purpose of a temporary business.
Yeah. And I guess that my point is that some of these people actually plan on staying there.
Yeah.
That's gonna be their permanent
Yeah.
location.
Mhm.
In driving around Sunnyside, you see a lot of guys who just have like an extension cord plugged into a pole. And I'm not exactly sure if that pole belongs to the O'Reillys or the guys over there at that other big building with the Smiles, close to McDonald's. All I'm saying is that, those kind of regulations are, and we talked about that a little bit too,
Yeah, and also what I was looking at on that no storage around the vending facility is just to keep the clutter from being right around, not
Mhm.
necessarily no storage building. If they've got room in the space they're trying to do it, to do it safely, I don't see a problem doing that.
Mhm.
And we could probably clarify
That's
some
what
of
I'm
that in
wondering,
here.
if we
So,
could clarify that to some
I
degree.
would agree with Counselor Hart on that one. I think that clarification of that one, because some of these folks, like Ms. Hart has said, have been there for quite a while and they intend to stay there for a while. They show no indication of leaving whatsoever, and they have already placed some sort of storage facility nearby. Some of them are incredibly neat, orderly, well-organized run outfits, and others maybe less so, but still, they've been there for a number of years. I mean, there's my favorite food truck that I go to, and they've been there for many years, and they just got a brand new rig. And so they're not going anywhere, and they've made that very clear. So for them to have some sort of storage for something there, it would be beneficial, because they've got to go back and forth to that storage unit throughout the course of the day. You know, there's not big refrigerators in there that I know of, but they do have to bring in things
You know,
to
dry-
Yeah.
dry
continue
goods.
operations.
Yeah.
And the other comment, Counselor Frausto made about the language and computer literacy and that sort of stuff, that's a huge
it
concern.
is. No,
It
absolutely.
is huge. We have a very large monolingual Spanish-speaking community, but we've also got a number of other monolingual communities that don't necessarily speak English or Spanish, and being able to help them access the information that they need. And if, we're going to go to a QR code, I know an awful lot of people that would look at that with just absolute confusion, have no idea what to do with that. So I do want to be careful to make that accessible to, people who want to start a business but don't necessarily know the English all that well.
And that's part of the customer service side that, we're constantly working on. So
Right,
it's-
right. Well, do it,
Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
The businesses that are gonna be grandfathered in, I take it you have a list of those businesses
Yes,
that
yeah, we've got the current.
they're current on everything.
So,
All
yeah.
right, thank you.
Counselor Vasquez.
Yeah, so then I have a question also with 1CE, which says vendor provided seating shall not be permitted.
yeah, that seems wrong. Which one is that under? I remember reading that.
1CE, vendor provided seating shall not be permitted.
And that is on the mobile vendor. That
Mobile?
category of vendor, if you go back to the first page, it's basically the ice cream trucks and the ice cream carts that are mobile around town.
Like walking around, like
Yeah,
moving
yeah,
it?
either pushing a cart or driving the ice cream truck.
Okay.
Those are in that mobile category because they're constantly mobile.
I guess I didn't.
So they're not necessarily going to set up a.
Okay, yeah, because in my head, it's like, well, the taco trucks are mobile too,
Yes, yeah.
so.
No, because, the taco trucks, the station, they fall under the stationary vendor. And several of them would, not just the taco truck, they're, the mobile vendor though,
Mhm,
like I say, there's no need to have,
okay,
signage, off-site signage or seating or anything for those because they're constantly moving. They are allowed to stop in residential areas for, I believe it's 10 minutes. Get a group of kids out there, and we got to have some number on there for it. So,
Could take a little more than
Okay.
10 minutes to get everybody.
yeah, well, and
But it's a general.
I don't see
workaround. It's a workable number.
yeah, and I don't see the purpose of sitting watching with a stopwatch for any of this. If it's a problem,
Bless-
we'll address it. But,
Bless your heart. If somebody starts doing that, send them to my house and I'll fix them up.
You'll just take 10 minutes to come to the door, right?
Yeah, I'll just take 10 minutes to come to the door and
All
show
right,
you how
further
long
questions or
that takes.
comments? Go ahead, Counselor Hart.
I think there was a couple more things that when I was looking through it, when I was reading it over, I've read it 3 times now and I keep seeing things, but you sent it with your regular stats thing.
yes.
So I had it a little longer to look at. But I know that there's some more things I would like to kind of send your way as maybe suggestions. I think the ones we got tonight are some good ones too for helping out. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm open to them. You can certainly email them to me,
Yeah.
however we need to. So,
Counselor Vasquez.
yeah, so I have another question. So I see 2CJ.
To CJ.
It says, at the conclusion of business activities, the vendor shall clean all the public ways surrounding vending facility of debris, trash, and litter. So I guess my question is, most of these vendors, honestly, they're closing at like 1, 2 in the morning. So is there follow-up, like a city actually making sure that it's clean? And let's say it's not, and then let's say it's not again, what are the steps, the following steps?
There again, it would turn into a code enforcement action if it's an actual problem.
Okay.
You know, if they're
Mhm.
leaving their garbage cans full and the dog's getting into them, there's a pile of trash out there that blows all over downtown. A lot of the business owners go out and start picking stuff up. If that becomes a problem for them, they let us know. We're gonna pinpoint where it's coming from
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
and address it as we need to.
Okay. And I'm just asking as well, just so that there is a follow-up and city is making sure that they're holding everyone accountable, because then it falls upon another business or upon another business owner's properties and it becomes their fault, you know? So I just think to be on top of that is very important as well.
Yeah, well, and that'll be included in another ordinance that I plan to bring in
Mhm.
with our code enforcement process, but
Okay.
Okay.
you know, we can address that.
All right.
Deputy
What-
Mayor.
And-
Oh,
sorry.
go ahead.
Sorry, just to reiterate your question. So we do have this, our fog employee that does come out at night. We do address that at that time to make sure that they understand, and we give them a copy of the ordinance saying they must clean up. So we do follow up on that.
Okay.
Deputy Mayor.
Excellent.
What's the definition of loud music? Because if you ask my teenager, I mean, should we put something,
Yeah.
I guess, a definition like 20 feet or something? I don't know.
I believe the state has one. The police department generally deals with the noise complaint stuff. And however they do the loud stereos, I would assume they could apply the same thing to this.
I think that, sorry.
Go ahead, Counselor.
It seems like that we did pass a few years ago a noise ordinance that maybe we might want to take another look at too. I know it's a different process, but as long as we're talking about noise, what is the definition of loud? Because we all have our thoughts on that. But maybe at some point too, if we could start working on the noise ordinance and take another look. It's been a number of years since we have worked on that one, so it might be
Maybe
time to
revisit.
revisit it and do a little review. Because music is individual kind of a thing. But it bothers some people and some
So
people don't
the
care.
definition for loud music refers to music that is played at a high volume often to the extent that it can disturb others and potentially cause hearing damage.
Well, I would think the drivers would be first first in line for the damage there. Okay, but that's good, that's good.
Further questions or comments on this item?
I was just gonna mention that, so I went over with Heath, the development community position that's going to be located on that side. And one of the things that we are requesting is that they are a Spanish speaker, and they're gonna be actually taking all the reservations, not only for parks, community, the community room, and then also the swimming pool, but they'll be assisting Debbie with any Spanish-speaking people that come in for permitting. So we're actually currently looking for somebody on that side of the building.
Okay, Counselor Hart.
I was just, what was the title of that position?
Development technician. Development technician. And they work specifically with community development.
Okay,
Thank you.
very good. It makes a lot of sense for all of the folks who have first contact with the community to be bilingual at City Hall.
Mhm.
Just makes their job easier and it also makes life easier for the community. So be on top of that. That's important. I appreciate the efforts you guys have been making in that. I also appreciate the work that you guys have put into this policy and this ordinance and compiling all this information, bringing it together, bringing it before the subcommittee and then revising things again and bringing it before council and revising it again. You got to put a lot of work into this. And that is commendable and it's really coming together nicely. The questions that are being asked today are very specific questions, which means you guys are getting closer and closer to the end of the process because there's no vague confusion. They're very clear on what the questions are. And that's a good sign in this process as well. So thank you for the work that you put in this and the amount of time that you've dedicated over the course of this past summer to getting this done. I look forward to seeing this. Good questions were raised by council members tonight, so thank you guys for that. Echoes a lot of the thoughts that I've had as well. And I still will contend that in Sunnyside, we have the best food trucks in the country. And I have the privilege of traveling fairly regularly, and I will stand by that, whether I'm in Estes Park, Colorado, or Denver, or Central California, or Iowa. We have the best food trucks right here in Sunnyside. Nobody's got the same kind of flavors, food that we find here. So that we can make those folks' lives a little bit easier, and yet make sure that everybody's conforming to the same rules, especially for food safety. That's kind of a big deal. So. All right, well, with no other business to come before council and with no objection, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Awesome. Okay, I don't know.